Hello and welcome to the launch of our new bookbinding tutorial, the amazing knitted boards binding. This is basically a collaboration between us and Marja Wilgenkamp. Hello Marja.
Hello everybody.
Basically Marja brought the subject and we, that's me, Kike, our printer, our photographer, our proofreaders, the entire team make an instruction manual out of it. At exactly 5 p.m. tonight, the tutorial, the material pack, and a bunch of other things that we'll show you in a minute will be available for purchase from our website. Before that, Marja and I are going to be talking about this and basically trying to entertain you for half an hour. So let's see how that goes. Marja Wilgenkamp, who are you?
Who am I? Oh my gosh, that's a difficult question. I am a bookbinder, situated in Blokker in the north of the Netherlands. And I was a former textile teacher, and I started bookbinding in 1996, and 1997 started my own bindery, doing that next to my work as a textile teacher. So I was a part-time bookbinder, part-time textile teacher, and then in 2005 I quit from being a teacher, and I said, okay, let's go for it, do it full-time. So 2005 I started to become a full-time bookbinder.
Excellent. And the question I want to ask you is, what made you transition from textiles to bookbinding?
Well, when I was teaching adults for 25 years, and one of them asked me after 3 years having lessons with me and doing her exam, she said, well, there's nothing else in Hoorn in textiles. Can't you start something in textile lesson at your home or something? I said, okay, why not? So I made my attic fit for teaching, and then I think the same lady said, can't we do anything about bookbinding? And I didn't know anything about bookbinding. I know my father did something in the past.
Oh really?
Yes, but so I was looking how can I do it, and I found a guest teacher, my first guest teacher.
So somebody suggests one of your students, textile students, was curious about bookbinding.
Yes.
And then you got curious about bookbinding.
Yes, and then I asked a guest teacher here from Hoorn, and she taught 2 workshops, and I was doing because I liked it. And then she went away, and I got someone else, and she went away after a year, and she said, well, go and get some lessons from this guy. So I called that guy and said, can I have some bookbinding teaching from you? Lessons? And he said yes, and we had to show him what we did. So I got some books I made in these lessons.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, you're good enough to come in my lessons. So we're approved.
That's cool.
And I did that for I think 2 years with him.
And so you must have gotten the virus somehow.
Yes.
Like you got really into it because otherwise you wouldn't have wanted to continue.
No. My idea was I do one course and then I am able to do some books with my students. Then I thought, oh my gosh, but this is very interesting. So I really got the fires. That's really true. You get the fires and I want to know more and more and more. And when he couldn't give me more, I went to other teachers. He said, go to other teachers, and I went to teachers in other countries, and
and eventually you transitioned from being a textiles instructor to being a full-time bookbinder. So making commissions for people, but also teaching bookbinding. So that's quite a massive change.
Yeah, it was because when I was teaching textiles, there was a 2001. They stopped doing these lessons, and I had to do other lessons at the school. And actually, I didn't like to do that lessons.
Okay.
And I was so busy with my bookbinding commissions. I actually had no time to teach anymore.
So you quickly had commissions, and it went well for you. Really
it started with 1, and then 2, and then 3, and more and more. And I was so busy. I thought, oh my gosh, I have to go to school. I have to teach. I have no time. I have to finish my commissions.
Wow, that's quite
a
success story.
I get a little bit stressed, and my husband said, then quit school, start and go 100% bookbinding. And okay.
Then you had this studio built.
Well, first I was it in here? Yes, we already moved here, and we made this studio here. And well, in the beginning I thought, well, it's too big. How can I fill it?
Too big.
Too big. And I think, oh my gosh, it's too small.
No, it's never too big.
No, it's never too big. That's what I realized after a few years. Oh my gosh, it's too small. But I'm very satisfied and happy with it. So
Great.
I cannot complain about this.
So you created the knitted boards binding. Can you tell us a little bit about this? What is a knitted boards binding, and maybe what motivated you to what inspired you to create it?
Well,
cetera,
actually,
cetera.
when I start bookbinding, I think a lot of people will recognize them. You want to do all kind of bindings, all kind of materials, and because of my textile background, I was looking for using textile materials or techniques into bookbinding. So I tried to do that, and then there was a fair, and I found this special paper cord, and I thought, oh, I have to do something with that. So I started experimenting and did a lot of things with it, and then I found out that I can do this with it, but then there was a problem, how can I make this into a book? Because I had the fabric, I had the knitting, but I didn't have the book.
Okay.
What kind of structure can I use for this? So I put it in a drawer for a few years, and then...
when was that?
That was, I think, 2002, 2003, something like that.
Okay.
And then in 2009, I was part of an exhibition nearby in a gallery. So I had to make a lot of books. And then I thought, okay, and now I have to make it. So
at first you had just discovered a way or developed a way to create stiff boards out of soft material using a textile technique, which is knitting. But you didn't have a way to connect it with a book block, right?
No, I had no idea at that time.
Yeah.
But then when I had this exhibition, I thought, okay, now there's a deadline.
Yeah.
Now I have to do it. So then when there's a deadline, I think a lot of people might recognize that. When there's a deadline, you take decisions which normally you would put aside, and now I have to. So I start to decide I only want to use the same material. I don't want to add anything like cloth or leather or whatever. Only this material.
Because what strikes me is that a lot of us bookbinders like to play with unusual materials and experiment, but more often than not will incorporate them into a more traditional framework. But you didn't want to do that. You wanted something where really as reduced as possible.
Yes,
okay.
The minimum. I like a minimum.
Art. And it's quite the tour de force because it looks extremely simple. But I think to figure it out, like most simple things, it's not actually simple to figure it out. No. When you know and when you have a recipe for it, then
it's easy.
But it took you a long time to a lot of trial and error to get to that point. Yeah. And what would you say is interesting about this binding from a purely bookbinding nerd perspective? What?
Well, that's difficult for me to say. I think it's interesting because I minimized the material I used, and I tried to do it with only that material, and I didn't use boards. I didn't use the traditional way of getting boards and cover them, but I want to use only this material and get it transparent, because normally a book binding there's a hole in it or something, or it's plexiglass, but it's not transparent. And I wanted to make something very transparent. And this material was so very extraordinary that it doesn't want to do what I wanted to do, so I just followed the material, and the material dictated me that it looks like this.
Wow.
So I wanted to do something and it didn't work, so I said, okay, if this is what you want, then you can get it like this way. Yeah, right.
It's really, it's. I mean, you have to handle it to see. It's really it's got quite a lot of stiffness actually. How thick would you say it is? Like about
2 mil.
Yeah, less than that. I think it's 1.5 or something.
Perhaps yes,
Yeah, and yet it has a really an incredible tension. Oh yeah. Oh, this,
This is different than a normal book. I like that. When I made it and I first closed it, I said, "Oh my gosh, it has sound."
Yeah, that's
different than a normal
book.
That's
interesting
quite nice.
Plus, for sure. What do you think this this binding style can be best used for? What kind of books would you bind would you recommend people binding in this way?
Well, I think for subjects that are a bit, I'm sorry, poetic things, little drawings, little etchings,
Yeah.
small content, not very heavy stuff, not very heavy subjects, I think.
Yeah.
But of course, you can also paint it in every color you want. But I think it's nice in not in a small size. So max A5, I think.
In terms of size, yeah, and in terms of thickness, does it work for a thicker volume?
Yes, I think it doesn't have to. I can do it in a thick book.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's nice in a very big book.
Yeah. Do you think it might be appropriate for a wedding book, for example?
Wedding or birth.
That's one thing that comes to my mind, because I think it's very white and pure. Birth book.
Also pure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For occasions book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that's about what I wanted to ask you. So good. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
And maybe.
Now I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
All right.
Can I?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Well, I wonder why did you want to make a tutorial for this? Because I was so surprised when you asked me.
Were you?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, it's something that I've seen on your website for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've always admired this. And I remember once, I think I was in England at Laurie Sauer. Laurie, if you're here.
Hello, Laurie, if you're there.
Laurie was president of DB, and I think she had to design an ad for DB, and she was looking for an image that would represent best what we do as contemporary bookbinders, and I happened to be there, and I said, hey, why don't you use this thing from Marja? I just think it's really strikingly original and really stands out, you know. I'm not sure everyone agreed with her decision. She eventually used that in the ad. I'm not sure everyone agreed, because it's not leather, it's not boards, there's no head caps, there's no headbands. So some people have a problem with that. But I really think that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's none of these things. No, what matters is does it work as a bookbinding, and I think that it really does. You could argue about whether it protects its content enough, but I think
you can put it in a book.
The answer to that is make a box for it.
In a box, yeah.
Yeah, if you're not sure about that, but really it has everything. It ticks all the boxes about that a binding should have, and just aesthetically, I think I don't know. I'm just in love with it. This pattern, I find it mesmerizing. I just love it. I love the contrast between this edge, which is the cast on or cast off
this
edge.
Is the cast on, and the other is the cast off.
Right. Yeah. And those, and this edge, that edge, and the spine edge, which are cut flush. I think there's a really beautiful tension. Just so much poetry in there, and
it was actually an idea that I cut this off was actually because I wanted to give the impression that it was from a long roll of knitted stuff, and you just cut out a piece.
Right.
That was the first idea.
That's
why I cut it.
Yeah, there's something very, you can understand. You can read the process there. You can tell. Okay, well, this is a knitting, and this is the original, the natural edge, and then it comes out of that. This cut out of that, and you can read. I really like in a binding when you can sort of reverse engineer it with your mind. Find it very playful. So yeah, that's my answer. And then we had, as you know, we've been doing six of my own tutorials so far, and at some point I thought, wouldn't it be nice to start including work from other people? And so you were the first one.
The first tryout.
Yes.
And I'm honored with that. Thank you for that.
I'm honored. Thank you for thank you for doing it.
And what do you think when you want to make this book? Because you, as a guy, you didn't know how to knit.
No, I didn't know.
Do you think
first thing.
People who are not able to knit can make this? Because you tried out.
Yeah. I mean, we decided to make the tutorial for bookbinders primarily. It's the level is, I would say, don't know if you agree. I would say it's intermediate or intermediate advanced.
Yes.
There are some manipulations that are require
A little bit more
skills
advanced,
and
Yeah.
but an absolute beginner would maybe succeed, but we didn't explain, we didn't translate the specific bookbinding terminology
No.
into everyday terminology. So we talk about the head, the tail, the foredge, squares. We don't grain direction. We don't explain all these things. So I would say it's not suitable for total beginners. But again, if somebody has done just a little introductory course on bookbinding, I think they can do it.
Or
But
else they can do a workshop and they can learn it.
yeah. But I was quite honestly, I designed this more like for people like me, like people who are already quite advanced in bookbinding, but have never knitted in their entire life. This is a wonderful.
Always thought it was female work.
Yes, sort of this. Well, yeah. Let's face it. There's something a bit like, oh, that's knitting. That's not for me. Like, but now you can learn how to knit with this project, and then use it not to make a jumper or a piece of clothing, but for something that is within your comfort zone, and which you love, which is bookbinding. So I think it's a great introduction, and we try to. Now we had a lot of discussion about that. Should we explain the knitting or not? Because we might also as well have said. We explain everything that's not knitting, and for the knitting, go to that video or check out this resource but we decided not to. because it's quite specific. I mean, it is standard knitting procedures, but the material itself is a difficult material. It's definitely not the kind of wool that people are used to. So we felt like sending people to a video of knitting where it was using wool, which is very very soft and very easy, very pliable, wouldn't really do the job. So we went ahead and described the knitting, assuming that people know nothing. They don't know the first thing, which was my case a year ago about knitting. We explained the basics, how it works, basically what happens, and then we go into detail what you do with your needles. Fascinating process, by the way.
For a nut knitter.
I will never look at since you taught me knitting, Marja. I'm looking at textiles in a complete different way, and I just find this so enriching. My life is enriched because of you.
Yeah,
but
I'm also enriched because you made me think about this whole process in a complete different way.
Right.
So for me, it was also a new process to go into. To describe this way, what am I doing and why am I doing it? Well, I was doing it just because I did it, but now I have to describe why and because of what, and so that's a complete different story.
Yeah, exactly.
For this one.
Yeah, because you had done it about 10 years ago.
Yes.
But you had never done it again afterwards,
nope.
And it's you hadn't really fine-tuned it to a point where
you helped me fine-tuning it. So that was a kind of cooperation that was very nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have other ideas than I have, and together we made it into I think a better work than I had before.
I can ask you a question. Did you think at some point, why the hell did I get involved in this?
There was a point. My God, it's so much work.
So did I, and I was so annoying about a few details, right? Yes. Where you're like, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. And he said it does matter, and I said why? And okay, this discussion we don't repeat it again, but it was a very how do you say that? Very learning process.
Good process. And it was really.
It learned me a lot too.
It was quite painful at times,
yes.
but I feel really good about it because we did everything we could. Like we didn't leave anything to chance. Like
I don't think so.
That's what I like to do with these books. Is there should be no question mark. There should be no guesswork. Everything has been thought through you can do everything. It can be done in so many different ways, and we pick one deliberately, and we document that one. And so I like to think that we have a great introduction to knitting for bookbinders, and we have a methodology that works that works every single time, not just one time by luck.
We tried out a lot of things, a lot of tests and experiments, and finding the good materials and the good solutions for this and for that, and so it was a hell of a job. But it was afterwards. It was a nice hell of a job.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, especially now that it's finished. It's basically started a year ago. We're running out of time, so I'm gonna show people. Why don't you show, Marja, your tutorial?
Well, this is. I'm very proud of it because of them. This is the first book ever made of anything of me. So it's very nice. I'm honored, and it looks great. It's in a color I like, and the colors in between are like. Everything is documented, and it's a good thing to have, I think.
Right.
So
and
this is the first one. It's for me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yes. This is actually literally the first one.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we need any special equipment for this project?
Yes. What you do need is a press.
You do need a press?
You do need a press. That's very important. And you need plastic sheets, plexiglass.
Yeah.
You need a stiffener, and you need a roller, and you need. Right. But a very specific thing is a press.
Yeah, but the press
and a softboard. We
did try alternative methods. People don't have, because we like to make these tutorials for use without any heavy equipment. If you do have equipment, it's always a plus. But we always try to do them that you don't. For example, you don't need a board chopper.
No.
We could have done it but you don't. The press, we did try other methods. So if you take 2 wooden boards and 4 very heavy duty clamps, you can do it without press.
It's in the tutorial.
And then there's specific materials that so there's regular bookbinding materials in there that you guys would probably already have in your studio, but there's, of course, because it's a knitting project, there's textile specific materials, and those are paper cord in here, nice knitting needles, number 7. Then we have the hardening fluid. We have pins. Well, that's not so special. What I'm showing you right now is the content of the material pack. Then we have plastic sheets, plexiglass, PVC. Softboard. We have a softboard. All these things are available anywhere you want to find them. We also have them loose on the website, but you can also order that in one big package. I'm saying that because it's a bigger package than usual because of this, and it's just a lot of stuff. Usually our packages are kind of small. This time is a huge thing, so it's also more expensive. But it'll save you having to order it from here and from there and from there, and then not getting the right one. And if you want to go ahead just with the project, get on with it. When you get it, I would highly recommend getting a material pack. How much time do we have? 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Right. I would like to show you something that we did. Well, maybe Marja, you want to talk about? And was it your idea or was it Kike's idea?
No, it was Kike's idea.
Kike's idea.
Kike had the idea. Why not make a kind of artwork of it? Because it's that's the nice part of this one. Every knitting piece is different, because you can't knit it the same way. Although you might be a very good knitter, this material forces you to make completely different knitting. So everybody who is going to make a knitting for this book, if you put them together, they will all be different. Yeah. So every work in this one is also different. So if I make 10, they all will be single parts actually. Yeah.
It is just wonderful. It looks like an old chart or something like that, and I think it has something something very graphic about it. Yeah. I think it looks really nice in a frame, and this is an opportunity to have a piece of Marja, an original piece of Marja on your wall. So that'll be signed as well, and you can order that from our website in 6 minutes as well. And then Kike, our mastermind, had another brilliant idea. what else can we do with these incredible boards of stiffened?
It's almost Christmas time.
Of stiffened paper cord. It's almost Christmas time, so here we go. A little.
Put it behind your.
Christmas, little something for the Christmas tree. Again, I think this is very, very poetic and very kind of snowflake, very appropriate for the holiday season.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'd like to perhaps.
Are we ready?
I'd like to mention everybody and thank everybody. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk that later. Before it's too late, I'd like to thank everybody contributed to this project, and that's Paul Slot, our amazing photographer.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Then we have testers. What I mean by testers is as soon as we have a version of this tutorial that is more or less that can be read, we send it to a bunch of people. They try it out, and they give us their feedback. And this is extremely precious feedback that we take on board and make it better. So this time it's Roderick Cornelissen from the Netherlands. Don't know if you're here. Annie Prin from France. Laurie Wright in Canada. Laurie Sauer in the UK. Keith Stuckles in the UK. Elisabeth Champommier in France. Then we have our proofreaders, Laurie Sauer, Keith Stuckles, and Elisabeth Champommier. Then we have our printer, which is Impressed, Druk and Print in the Netherlands. And of course, Kike Schaper, who is kind of the jack of all trades. Just kind of does a little bit of everything in terms of design, in terms of layout, in terms of logistics, organizing all this stuff. This is mostly Kike, and setting up the websites, organizing the newsletter. And none of this could be done without her. So I hope I didn't forget anyone.
You did forget yourself.
You
did a lot of work
I don't.
for this one.
I don't need much more credit. It's my name. My name's.
Yeah,
on
but
there,
you did a lot of work on this.
Yeah, for sure. We want to announce that the first 10 orders get a free bowl of paper cord and Powertex, the stiffening agent. So remember that. Do we have 2 more minutes? What else do you want to talk about, Marja?
Well, then it was a very nice route we had.
Come on.
A very nice cooperation.
Yeah.
And we knew each other, but this was another piece of cake we
Yeah.
had to do together.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm honored to have been able to do that, and I would like to do it more often with other binders. I think there's a lot of binders in the world that have invented incredible things, just like you, and who have not published anything. They might have taught it multiple times, but that's not the same as having it written black on white in a book. To me, it's a very important work for me. Is for the future. Is leave a legacy behind for the next generation. So I'm really honored that I could do this.
well, I'm honored that I have a legacy now.
Right.
I never had a legacy
well, you have.
then when I had this one. So
You definitely have a legacy through all the people you taught.
yes, but this is also black and white.
But now we have something that will survive even those people. I don't know why I'm kind of obsessed with this question.
But
I think it's
that's
important.
another question. We can
That's
talk
another
about
question.
that. That's
Yeah.
another talk. That's another talk. Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully you guys gonna enjoy that, gonna appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing what you're gonna do with it, because
I'm
now
looking forward what other people are going to do with it.
absolutely, because it's you chose to use just white, but it doesn't have to be white.
No.
It could be other colors. Okay, and we had the countdown. I'm hearing.
Our
5,
director is there.
4, 3, 2, 1. I'm late. Oh no!
Oh,
Oh no! I wasn't paying attention. Wait, it's coming, it's coming.
Oops.
Whoa!
That's a good one.
Marja.
Thank you.
Kieke.
Hello. Okay.
Yay! Chin chin!
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you
Bye!
next
See you
time.
next year!
And enjoy making it. I
Yep.
hope.
Have fun.